Hello everybody and welcome back to the continuation of my book reading of Stephen King's Cell. Here we go. They had reached the part of Route 1, sometimes called the Miracle Mile, sometimes Sleazy Alley, where limited access highway yielded to a jostle of liquor marts, cut-rate clothing stores, sporting goods outlets, and eateries with names like Fuddruckers. Here the 6 lanes were littered, if not quite choked, with vehicles that had either been piled up or just abandoned when their operators panicked, tried their cell phones and went insane. The refugees moved their various courses silently among the remains, reminding Clay Riddle more than a little of ants evacuating a hill that had been demolished by the careless passing boot stride of some heedless human. There was a green reflectionized sign reading Malden Salem Street exit 14 MI at the edge of a low pink building that had been broken into. It was fronted by a jagged skirting of broken glass, and a battery powered burglar alarm was even now in the tired last stages of running down. A glance at the dead sign on the roof was all Clay needed to tell him what had made the place a target in the aftermath of the day's disaster. Mr. Big's giant discount liquor. He had one of the plump woman's arms. Tom had the other, and Alice reported the mothering woman's head as they eased her to a sitting position with her back against one of the exit sign's legs. Just as they got her down, the plump woman opened her eyes and looked at them dazzledly. Tom snapped his fingers in front of her eyes twice, briskly. She blinked, then turned her eyes to Clay. "You hit me," she said. Her fingers rose to touch the rapidly puffing spot on her jaw. "Yes, I'm so," Clay began. "He may be, but I'm not," Tom said. He spoke with that same cold briskness. "You were terrorizing our ward." The plump woman laughed softly, but tears were in her eyes. "Ward? I've heard a lot of words for it, but never that one. As if I don't know what men like you want with a tender girl like this, especially in times like these." They repented, not their fornications, nor their sodomize, nor their... "Shut up," Tom said, "or I'll hit you myself." And unlike my friend, who was, I think, lucky enough not to grow up among the holy Hannahs and Tus, does not recognize you for what you are. And I won't pull my punch for a warning. One more word. He held his fist before her eyes, and although Clay had already concluded that Tom was an educated man, civilized, and probably not much of a puncher under ordinary circumstances, he could not help feeling dismay at the sight of that small, tight fist, as if he were looking at an omen of a coming age. The plump lady looked and said nothing. One large tear spilled down her rugged cheek. "That's enough, Tom. I'm okay," Alice said. Tom dropped the plump lady's shopping bag of possessions into her lap. Clay hadn't even realized Tom had salvaged it. Then Tom took the Bible from Alice, picked up one of the plump lady's beringed hands, and smacked the Bible into it, spine first. He started away, then turned back. "Tom, that's enough. Let's go," Clay said. Tom ignored him. He bent towards the woman sitting with her back against the sign's leg. His hands were on his knees. And to Clay, the two of them, the plump, spectacled woman looked up. Small, spectacled man bending over with his hands on his knees, looking like figures in some lunatic parody, the early illustrations from the Charles Dickens novels. "Some advice, Miss Sister," Tom said. "The police will no longer protect you, as they did when you and your self-righteous, holy rolling friends marched on the family planning centers or the Emily Cathcart Clinic in Waltham. That abortion mill? She spat, and then raised her Bible, as if to block a blow. Tom didn't hit her, but he was smiling grimly. I don't know about the vial of insanity, but there's certainly beaucoup crazy making the rounds tonight. May I be clear? The lions are out of their cages, and you may well find that they'll eat the Maori Christians first. Somebody canceled. Excuse me. Somebody canceled their right to free speech. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Something stuck in my throat. Where was I? Okay, here we go. Yeah. Somebody canceled their right of free speech around 3 o'clock this afternoon. Just a word to the wise. He looked from Alice to Clay, and Clay saw that the upper lip beneath the mustache was trembling slightly. Shall we go? Yes, Clay said. Wow, Alice said. Once they were walking towards the Salem Street ramp again, Mr. Big's giant discount liquor falling behind him. You grew up with someone like that? My mother and both of her sisters, Tom said. First in a Church of Christ, the Redeemer, they took Jesus as their personal savior, and the church took them as its personal pigeons. Where's your mother now? Clay asked. Tom glanced at him briefly. Heaven. Unless they rooked her on that one too. I'm pretty sure the bastard did. Near the stop sign at the foot of the ramp, 2 men were fighting over a keg of beer. It forced to guess Clay would have said it have probably been liberated from Mr. Big's giant discount liquor. Now it lay forgotten against the guardrails, dented and leaking foam, while the 2 men, both brawny and both bleeding, battering each other with their fists. Alice shrank against him, and Clay put his arm around her. But there was something almost reassuring about these brawlers. They were angry, enraged, but not crazy, not like the people back in the city. One of them was bald and wearing a Celtic jacket. He hit the other a looping overhand blow that mashed his opponent's lip and knocked him flat out. When the man in the Celtic jacket advanced on the down man scrambled away, then got up, still backing off. He spat blood. Take it, you fuck, he yelled in a thick, weepy Boston accent. Hope it choked you. The bald man in the Celtic jacket made it as if to charge him, and the other went running up the ramp towards Route 1. Celtic's jacket started to bend down for his prize. Registered Clay, Alice, and Tom straightened up again. It was 3-1. He had a black eye, and blood was trickling down the side of his face from a badly torn earlobe. But Clay saw no fear in that face, although he had only the diminishing light of the reverie fire to go by. He thought his grandfather would have said the guy's Irish was up. And certainly that went with a big green shamrock on the back of his jacket. The fuck you looking at? He asked. Nothing, just going by you, if that's alright, Tom said, mildly. I live on Salem Street. You can go to Salem Street, or hell, far as I'm concerned, the bald man in the Celtic jacket said. Still a free country, isn't it? Tonight? Clay said. Too free? The bald man thought it over, and then laughed. A humorless double. Haha. Fuck happened. And you just know? Alice said, "It was the cell phones. They made people crazy." The bald man picked up the keg. He handled it easily, tipping it so the leak stopped. "Fucking things," he said. "Never cared to own one. Roll over minutes. Fuck are those?" They didn't know. Tom might have. He owned a cell phone, so it seemed possible, but Tom said nothing. Probably didn't want to get into a long discussion with the bald man. Probably a good idea. Clay thought the bald man had some of the characteristics of an unexploded grenade. "City burning?" the bald man asked him. Isn't it?" "Yes," Clay said. "I don't think the Celtics will be playing at the Fleet this year." "They ain't shit anyway," the man said. Doc Rivers couldn't coach a PAL team. He stood watching them, the keg on his shoulder, blood running down on the side of his face. Yet now he seemed peacefully enough, almost serene. "Go on," he said. "But I wouldn't stay this close to the city for long. It's gonna get worse before it gets better. There's gonna be a lot more fires, for one thing. You think everybody who hightailed it north remembered to turn off the gas stove? I fucking doubt it." The three of them started walking then. Alice stopped. She pointed to the keg. "Was that yours?" The bald man looked at her reasonable. "Ain't no was at times like this, sweetie pie. Ain't no was left. Ain't no was left." That's a very weird way of sentence. Ain't no was left. There's just now and maybe tomorrow. It's mine now, and if there's any left, it'll be mine maybe tomorrow. Go on now. The fuck out." "See ya," Clay said. "I raised one hand. Wouldn't want to be you." The bald man replied, unsmiling, but he raised his own hand in return. They had passed the stop sign and were crossing to the far side of what Clay assumed was Salem Street, when the bald man called after them again. "Hey, handsome!" Both Clay and Tom turned to look. They glanced at each other, amused. The bald guy with the keg was now only a dark shape on the rising ramp. He could have been a caveman carrying a club. "Where are the loonies now?" the bald man asked. "You gonna tell me they're all dead, are you? 'Cause I don't fucking believe it." "That's a very good question," Clay said. "You're fucking right, it is. Watch out for the little sweetie pie there." And without waiting for them to reply, the man who won the battle of the beer keg turned and merged with the shadows. Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to stop it here for this book reading part. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.